Good afternoon, everybody. I may have spoken to some of you already, or will speak to some of you after this presentation back upstairs. But today, what I want to speak to you about in this short half hour or so is a bit about employability. So what your university can do for you in terms of employability. This is a subject that's I think very important and is increasingly important for both undergraduate and postgraduate students studying in higher education now. Because the good news is that for most students, the opportunity to study bachelor's or postgraduate level is greatly increased. Come on in. Yeah, of course. So the opportunity to study at bachelor's level has increased for most students. But that creates a sort of problem because, at one time just having a bachelor's degree was almost enough to guarantee employment and a choice of different types of employment. Now the degree itself is probably not enough in itself, and students have to think a bit more about the skills that they bring to an employer. However, that's not just the job of the student to take on that responsibility, and I think universities also have to take some responsibility to support students to develop their employability skills, so their attractiveness, if you like, to employers after graduation. So what I want to speak about today is some of the things that students, I think, can do, and something that universities can do to help students. I'll obviously use case studies from my own university, the University of Glasgow. I'll maybe go back and just show you the... Going the wrong direction. Back, stop. Okay. So I'll use case studies from my own university at Glasgow to illustrate this and show you in a practical way what I mean. I should have maybe introduced myself right at the very start, but I'll do that now. My name's Campbell, as you can see, Campbell Wilson, a good Scottish name. And I work in the international office at the university and have done for about 4 years now. But prior to that, I did my foundation programme at Glasgow, a 4-year bachelor's degree at Glasgow, a 1-year master's degree at Glasgow, and a 3-year PhD at Glasgow. So I have lots of experience as a student and as a member of staff. So I'm happy to take questions about that. Okay. So when I go and speak to students, one of the things that students ask me more and more is this type of information. So these are questions that students might not have asked 5 or 10 years ago, but now students increasingly are saying, yes, okay, that's fine. Your degree in your master's in economic development, your degree in film and TV studies is fine, but what about my employment opportunities after? What can you say about that? So we now have to tell students these types of numbers, where we are in starting salaries, how many students go into employment from our courses, because students now are concerned about this type of information. And this is, I suppose, in some respects, why we become more interested in employment. I'll see if I can press the right button this time. Yes. I'll maybe start the process off by showing you a couple of things about a couple of examples that I would give to students of ways that they can become involved in student life within their university, and some of the advantages for students, and then I'll go on to a case study about what we do with this. So as I said at the start, a degree now is probably not enough in terms of a qualification, a currency to secure a job. So other things, you have to think about other things. And what you have to do is think creatively about what you can use as part of your student experience to put on a CV, an application form for a job, and where you can get that experience from. Because hopefully when you're at university, whether you're doing undergraduate or bachelor's degree or master's degree, you'll be working hard academically, so you shouldn't have too much time. But one of the things we always talk to students about are the clubs and societies, the student media, the volunteering opportunities that exist within my particular university, but will exist in other, every other university in the UK will have a similar programme of clubs and societies, of student media, of volunteering opportunities. Now, in one sense, those are things which are fun to do. They're good, and they're very good for meeting other students, for your social life, to unwind a bit from the academic demands of your course. But actually, they have a really serious value, because all of these things that a student will do are things that a student can then add to their CV on graduation. So let's say, for an example, that you're really interested in TV. So there's Glasgow University student television. So you arrive at the university, you're studying whatever, chemistry, philosophy, medicine, it doesn't matter, but you want to get involved in the student TV station. So you go along to the first meeting, you volunteer, and you end up being very involved for the 4 years of your degree in student TV. When you graduate then, and you start to complete your CV, obviously what you're going to say is, as well as my degree in philosophy, I also spent 4 years running, managing the TV station, producing programs, doing script editing work, working as a team, managing other people. Lots and lots you can say about that one piece of experience, which was probably great fun, but you actually learned some really valuable skills. And each of those other things are the same in that respect. There's lots you can say about all of them. So obviously, the volunteering thing, the clubs, I mean, there's some really, there's 150 clubs at my university, and there's some pretty strange and unusual clubs, but each of those has a value in, as I say, that you can talk about being president of the Law Society or the Philosophical Society or club secretary, and the responsibilities that entailed. And something as simple as that can mean that when it comes to an application for a job, a graduate job, and you can imagine, let's say I'm the graduate employer and I get 2 applications in from very well qualified students, and they've both studied the same course, they've both got identical marks. How am I going to decide? They're both the same. How am I going to sort that out? Well, one of the ways that an employer will do that is say, well, what's a bit more interesting about this student? What have they done apart from study? So they start to look a bit deeper into the CV. And if students are sharp enough, they will develop the transferable skills from these things there and put that forward as, time management skills, organizational skills, general management skills, responsibility, perhaps, things like that. So these things, to get involved It's one of the things that, as I say, we say to students as, you know, this is great being a student, have some fun, but actually there's a really serious side to it. I went backwards again. I need to, yeah. Did I miss one out? No. Okay, these are just further examples of things that students can do. The difference, you'll see there's some on-campus events there, and again, I'm aware that this is, I'm showing you stuff about Glasgow, but please be aware that this is general to UK universities, that this will be the things that universities will provide. All universities have a programme, usually a pretty well-established programme of on-campus events every year. At Glasgow, we are no different. So the Freshers programme is for new students arriving, and Daft Friday, which is a Glasgow one, is about, well, you can maybe guess, but it's a bit of madness on a Friday. But you'll see there are also themed weeks there: Media Week, Health Week, Green Week, Rag Week, which is a charities week. And again, we organise on campus fun events for students to get involved with, so lots of activity, but with a serious side to it, an important side to it. I'll use maybe Media Week as an example, as I'm on the subject of TV. So in Media Week, for example, we will invite guest media organisations to the university. So in our case, it will be things like the BBC, Scottish Television, local newspapers, national newspapers, magazines, experienced broadcasters. You know, we try and get some stars, you know, some big names that people know. And we invite them, and they do workshops, they do seminars, they do talks. They generally get involved with the students. And usually part of that will involve things like an internship fair, where internships related to media will be talked about with students, so they can start to explore those opportunities. But what they are opportunities for students to start to engage with employers and to start to network a bit, and, you know, make themselves known to an employer, you know, give them contact details, say, I would really love to come to the BBC and do an internship next summer, what would be you know, who should I speak to? And it gives students the chance to do that. And that applies, you know, to each of these different areas. So the Green Week is about, you know, renewable technologies, recycling, that sort of thing. So if students are interested in that area, Rag Week, as I say, is about NGOs and charities and things. So again, students have the opportunity. So what universities try to do is, I guess, give students fun experiences, enjoyable experiences, but ones with opportunities built in for them. So in terms of what your university can do for you, that's one of the things that a UK university will do. We'll present those opportunities to you in the form of things to join, things to attend, but you have to be proactive in some sense to take advantage of them. Another thing which you know, I won't spend a lot of time on because it's related to the clubs and societies, are sports. You know, not to underestimate the value of, if you happen to not really want to get involved with student media or student volunteering, but you are a talented swimmer, or you know, a boxer, or whatever it might be, to get involved with your sport in the university, to represent the university in competition. All of those things, again, have tremendous value in terms of saying something interesting about yourself to an employer, other than the fact, I've got this degree from Glasgow, give me a job, please. It gives you something more to say. So again, it's about what you would expect to receive at university level, but it's about the way that you use that as individuals to benefit your career and take those opportunities on board. Because again, employers who come to our campus tell us all the time that one of the challenges, and this sounds very inconsequential, but actually it's true, that one of their challenges is that if they, in the UK, advertise a job for a graduate, so that's a graduate employment job, and they might now receive, maybe by the time they filter them down, about 70 to 80 applications of qualified applicants for that position. So people who meet all the criteria for that position. So as I say, they have to filter that down. They can't interview 80 people, so they want to filter it down to 15 or 20 people or something. So they have ways of doing that, as I say, and I mentioned one of them is they'll have a look at the CV and see if there's something, if you've done something a bit more interesting with your 4 years than just study. So they'll look at all the aspects of your application. They'll look at where you went to university, that's important. They'll look at the quality of your degree, but they're also interested in those other things. One of the reasons that they're interested in the other things is they want to, when they interview you, have something to talk about. Because if you've got nothing to say about yourself, then what are they going to talk about at the interview? I mean, if it's a general graduate position. So employers tell me that they love it if somebody comes and they've been a champion swimmer or something in the university and represented us in competitions in Europe. They love that because it gives them something to talk about, you know, and tell me about your competition and tell me about the training and how difficult was it. And so you know, always use that experience in terms of securing employment. The other one, and I think it's a really key one, you know, obviously I appreciate for master's students it's probably less applicable than it would be for undergraduate students. But it's one worth thinking about for undergrads is the study abroad opportunity. Because one of the things that international students are doing by coming and studying in the UK, then returning home, is demonstrating your maturity, your global vision, you know, your intellectual maturity, you know, lots of things. It demonstrates lots of things. That you've had the resourcefulness, the enterprise to actually go and do the study abroad. So for those undergraduate students who come to study at Glasgow, other UK institutions now, increasingly study abroad opportunities are important for those students. Because what we want them to do is to demonstrate to the potential employer that they are mature people. You know, they have taken some responsibility. They've had to seek out the opportunities to study abroad whilst they're at Glasgow, and they've taken that on board. Our international students are equally welcome to take up our study abroad opportunities, visas allowing, and we do encourage it as a way to demonstrate further that you have the maturity, I guess, in some ways. Okay, so those are fairly general points about what every university in the UK will offer a student. It may not always be packaged, and we don't package it to students as here is your opportunity to enhance your employability by having some fun, because it doesn't really sell it to students because they don't, you know, they would rather just have fun. So sometimes it's an unconscious thing, but what we try and do with students as they progress through their studies is say, have a think about what it is you're doing by being a member of this club or society, or being involved in student media or student volunteering. Have a think about what that means in terms of what an employer would be interested in. One of the examples I'll give, or the example I'll give you of what we do in particular at Glasgow, is a thing called the Graduate Skills Programme. This is a picture of successful participants in the programme from last year. So unfortunately at Glasgow this is only available in the College of Social Sciences at the moment, so it tends to be used by people in the business school, I guess, a lot, but also accounting and finance in those different areas. But also we have students who use it who are interested in sociology and things like that. So it's used by a range of students. But let me tell you a bit about it. So what the Graduate Skills Programme does is all of those things that I spoke about, I don't expect you to read all this, by the way, all of those things that I spoke about with the activities to get involved in work-related, like jobs and careers, all of those things, we try and, through first year of your degree, make students become a bit more aware of what it is they're doing and getting involved in, and start to use the right language to use that experience. So academic skills you're going to develop on your course, but we try and encourage students to think about what is it they're actually learning. Because if you're doing a degree in philosophy or English literature and you want to secure a job in PricewaterhouseCoopers or somewhere, what you're studying isn't necessarily of massive interest to them. But the techniques you learn, the skills you learn are of huge interest to them. So you need to learn to talk about the skills that you're developing. So this is what this programme will help students do. The extracurricular, I've already mentioned, clubs and societies. So again, it's about expressing the experience you're gaining, the knowledge you're gaining, the skills you're gaining, and presenting that in the right language to employers. Work-related learning, internships, things like that, again, very important. And jobs and careers is about the engagement with employers on campus during the special kind of themed weeks and stuff like that. What we do with students is we then, from about first year in the programme, we start to get them to compile portfolios. So like, a very fancy version of a CV, really, where we start to get them to record everything they're doing and use the right language to describe that, what they're doing. And this document becomes something then that they can continually use through their studies to either secure internships or to look towards careers at the end. But it's something that students will start in first year at university in an undergraduate degree, a bachelor's, and will run right through 4 years of their course. So it develops into quite an impressive portfolio of things to say about yourself. So when it comes to these students who have done graduate skills, when it comes to their graduation and they start to fill in those application forms, some of their peers who haven't thought so much about this will be sitting with an application form, and they'll be fine when it comes to filling in their qualifications and all of that, and then it will have a big space to say something a bit more interesting about, tell us a bit about yourself. They'll think, I don't know what to say about myself. These guys who have done graduate skills, it's trying to stop them saying things about themselves, because they have plenty of ammunition, and employers really like that. They really like it. When in an interview situation, when an employer asks you, why do you want to come and work here? Why should I hire you? Usually, people who have participated in some sort of focused programme are not defeated by that type of question. In fact, they love it because they have lots to say. What students who haven't thought about that do is they struggle at that point and they can't think of anything to say. So it's really, really important. Okay, I've got a few minutes. I'll finish with a case study and then I'll ask you, then you can ask any questions. If I allow time, I shouldn't talk so much. But anyway, let me give you a case study. Very quick one. So this is a student who studied at Rebecca. I can show you a picture of her if you want. And got a book here. But anyway, Rebecca. Now she did English literature at Glasgow. So not really not career-focused degree, really. You know, you're not going to get a job as an English literaturist. So you know, it's a great degree, but not careers-focused. But she got contacted by our careers team early in her degree about internship opportunities. We contact all our students first year. In fact, the first few months of the degree, we contact them and say, there are opportunities for internships through the summer. Are you interested? Come along to this information session. So she went, and she went to a Morgan Stanley one, and the result was she had 2 internships in 2009 and 2010, 1 year after another. She graduated in 2011, and she's now employed as an analyst with Morgan Stanley. Prime brokerage trade support team. Now, you wouldn't necessarily relate that back to a degree in English literature. So, you know, there's that kind of issue where students will speak to me all the time. Again, some of you maybe will ask me this question today. You know, if I study English literature, what kind of job am I going to get? What kind of job can I do? Well, there's an example. You can be a prime brokerage trade support team person at Morgan Stanley, or an analyst for short. So that's one illustration of what the potential is. Take a minute though and read. This is when we asked Rebecca about her participation at university. We asked her, you know, how it helped prepare her for the career, and this is actually what she said. What you can see is that basically what she did was she had a normal student experience. She had a part-time job in the student union bar to earn a bit of money. She played a bit of hockey in the hockey team at the university, and she pursued her studies. So that's what she didn't do anything special. But the way she was able to express her participation in those things was slightly different. It was focused on the skills that she developed that an employer would be interested in. Is an employer interested that you played hockey for the university team? No, they don't care. Are they interested that you know how to work as part of a team, take instructions? Yes, they're very. Are they interested that you're dedicated, that you turn up, you know, for the practices as well as the games? They're interested in that. So it's about what these things demonstrate that are important. So that's all I want to say on employability. To summarise, as I say, all UK universities will provide a range of opportunities for students to engage with lots of activities. There will be something for every student in the room in terms of what your interests are, whether they're sports or intellectual or scientific or volunteering, or doesn't matter what you're interested in. There'll be something for you to get involved in. But when you do make that, when you do get involved in something, just think about how those transferable skills are of value to employers, and remember to say it, because if you don't, it means that when they're sorting out those piles of applications, your one will get shoved to the side. So, okay, I'm finished. We probably have like 2 minutes. Oh, we don't have any minutes. I've got it. So I'm finished. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I'm going straight back upstairs, and I'll be here till 7 o'clock. So if anyone's got any questions about what I've said about employability, or any specific questions about courses, please come and see me. But thank you for coming along. You're welcome.